Happy New Year. So what are we going to focus on this year? Well, I guess we learnt one thing, no? I hope we learnt one thing. And what's that? The only thing that's constant is our experience of consciousness. And that is where our attention has to be. And everything comes from that space. All of creation, all the capacity to give, all the capacity to appreciate, all the capacity to recreate, to flow, to evolve, to be more, all comes from that space of silence, that place of love. And we need to value that more than anything. And then move into action. And I know I keep repeating and repeating and repeating the same thing, but it's vital that humans learn to live here, because this provokes the actions of love. This provokes abundance. This provokes freedom. It doesn't matter where you are, you can be free if you are anchored in consciousness. It's not an external experience. It's an internal experience. And you're going to start to experience such a joy, such a freedom, that will start to become blissful. Okay? And the mind will stop affecting you. And I know at this stage, a lot of you think that is impossible. It's impossible. But it's not. You'll start to see the thought process, the program, the victim, the separation for what it is. It is something you created. It is not who you are. And you will detach from it more and more. You will not be identifying with the limitation, that neediness, that wanting things to change, wanting myself to change. And you'll start to evolve from love. And that's what's important. Because really you're perfect exactly as you are now. But you have to embrace that. And continue evolving. Because it's in that evolution that life is a joy. You know, the river has to flow back to the source. If not, it becomes stagnant. It has to flow back to the source. But with love, bubbling, not struggling, just with joy. Yeah, so I'm not going to do a New Year's speech because it's this moment. And I think we're all a little bit too evolved to be thinking, oh, this year I'm going to unify. This year I'm going to exercise. This year I'm going to eat healthily. What about this year? I move into action. I focus on giving. I focus on joy and celebrating my life and really appreciating what I've done and take the fruits of this out into the world. That would be my this year resolution if I was you guys. Because everything else you've done.
These last days, I listened to you and several teachers talking to catch the victim and laugh about it.
Like that? Okay, not like this. No, no. With a butterfly net. Okay. Sorry, go.
And there are several aspects of my victim that I would like to be free completely. I see my mind, and all my life had been like this, catches whatever situation or opportunity to tell me I'm less or not good enough. That is the biggest one. But there are several others. But I would like to ask if you can talk a bit more about it.
You know, it's very easy to catch the victim because there's an energy, no? The victim doesn't feel empowered, doesn't feel unlimited, isn't joyful. The victim always is needy, thinks things are unjust, and suffering. So you can see the energy. It's not subtle. It's big. Poor me. And it always starts with, for all of my life. Because the victim was created here. And you've been walking with it, helping it to grow, creating things outside that confirm that the victim's right. But the victim's got so big, it's looking you in the eye. This is the big victim. So you have to make a decision. You're going to keep walking with this person that can take control of you in any moment, or you're going to really see the victim for what it is. It's a monster, but it's an illusion. It's not who you are. And you'll start to push it away. How are you going to push it away? Because you're going to choose for a bigger energy. You're going to start choosing for your consciousness. So how does consciousness feel? It's playful. It's innocent. It feels empowered. It feels unlimited. It doesn't listen to those thoughts based in fear. And if it does, it challenges them. The creator never feels stuck. It feels unlimited. So in each moment, because you have an experience of consciousness, you can start to choose. Do I want to keep dragging this bad marriage around? Or do I want to be free? Because it's heavy, no? The victim's heavy. It's like, oh, God. So catch it and keep putting it down. Keep putting it down and laugh at it and see through it. And if it hooks you, feel, but let go. Stop believing it. And this is how you find freedom. And this is called responsibility. You know, powerful people throughout history have always gone against all odds. They're always creating something new. A new freedom, a new religion, a new Buddha, a new Jesus, a new Nelson Mandela, always in the face of adversity. Because they have a big vision. And the vision is beyond the victim. And you have to start defining yourself through who you want to be. and going into the silence, into the silence, into the silence. And that voice, it will keep going back. It will keep going back until it becomes like a balloon, no? You'll either pop it or you'll let it float away.
I could see that in my process I surrender completely to everything, to my attachments, to my image, to my fears. And this month I found it, that surrendering so much, I felt a big freedom and some tides up went away. And I feel joy. Can you talk about total freedom?
Well, the thing is you're surrendering. So you're saying yes to your creation. And that's to be masterful. Because the moment you can create that magic, even if your head's saying it's not real, if you can say yes, you experience a phenomenal freedom. Because you are seeing that I am creating this. Now I have to choose who I'm going to be in this situation. And you're not getting hooked in the same places. So you just need to stay there. You know, I remember when I was healing, I cried so much because I abandoned myself so much. I'd compromised all my life, trying to be loved, played small, so other people felt comfortable. And the self-abandonment, because of fear of external abandonment, was unbelievable. The external abandonment didn't exist. It was just me. Me abandoning, me abandoning, me abandoning me, me abandoning me because of fear. And once you can see that, once you can give love to that, you are unlimited because you know you are responsible. And this, it's not fragile. This is fragile. This is this. You've got to balance it. You have to please. And you have to please so many aspects. You have to control. And it's exhausting. It's so exhausting. Trying to control everything. Trying to contain love externally. Looking for approval. Have you noticed? Has anyone noticed? Did anyone notice? What, you didn't notice? You all bloody noticed. And if you haven't noticed, you will notice. It's big. It is the root of suffering. The root of all freedom is unconditional love of self. And it's internal. It is kryptonite for the ego. Poof. Disappears. So just keep focusing on that. Just keep focusing on that. And it's the only way to change anything. You know, people are always trying to save the world. But for eternity, huh? It's just cyclical. Always something external is going to save us. And still, even with the masters, go in, be one with the Father, look for the silence, take responsibility, be the Buddha. All the teachings from the masters. And we're still doing the same thing. We're still looking outside. And the minute that all of humanity realize that the freedom's inside, the consciousness will change completely. Completely.
Yesterday, I received a call from a family, and they were super happy that I'm in a place that is totally safe and COVID-free. But they also were feeling sad because around our families, some people died, whole families dying. Can you please give me a message for these people they are going through in this new year, this big pain?
You know, loss is life. It could be an earthquake. It could be age. It could be a plane falling from the sky. It could be AIDS. Remember when that happened? And everyone was dying? It happens intermittently, all the time, throughout history. It's like a shake, and we start to see our vulnerability. We start to appreciate what we have, because we can see how easily we can lose it. And people feel like a victim to this because it comes from nowhere. And there's nothing we can do. And yes, it's a horrible virus. It was especially horrible for the old people because so many of them died by themselves. They didn't even have the people that loved them with them. And they left. But we have to honor those people, that loss, through change. You know, this is a call to change. Humanity has to change. And we can see now how connected we all are. And unfortunately, now we're seeing how connected we are through a virus that's killing us. We didn't see the love. We didn't see the need of others. Other people crying. Other people needing food. Other people needing medicines. We didn't see any of that until it came to our door. And remember, what comes to our door comes to everyone's door. And we have to have more compassion. We have to give more. We have to absolutely function as one, taking care of each other. And very importantly, taking care of the planet. Because this is our home. And the only way to change this, and I'm not saying this makes it easy. It's horrible to lose people you love, especially when you're not anticipating it. But we have to use this to change. It's a call to change. What are we going to focus on? We have to focus on love, appreciating life, joy, giving, spending more time with the old people, appreciating them, really seeing the fragility of what we have and valuing it. That's what it is for me. You know, more attention, more time, more love, more of everything. But we really, really, really have to appreciate what we have instead of always chasing illusions. because we feel empty. Mm? And seeing the fragility of our condition. The human condition. It's fragile. And powerful. And unlimited. All of that.
I want to tell you something. When I was a child, I used to be very religious. My family, we were going to church a lot. I was praying every night. And now in this process, really, like at 13, I separate completely from church. And in this moment of my process, I'm starting to value the gold that I received listening the messages in religion about Jesus. And I feel lots of love. Can you talk about the connection with the divine through this process? How we start touching more the inner God?
You know, it's an interesting thing. Because when we start to expand consciousness, we start to understand the masters. Because everything's talked in parables, no? And unfortunately, religion often has the tendency to perceive things through the window of fear and guilt. But as we start to expand our consciousness, we start to perceive the clarity of the Quran, the Bible, the Bhagavad Gita, all of the teachings. I've forgotten that. What's the Arab one? Quran. What's the Jewish one? Torah. And we start to understand it. Because we're starting to understand the message. Because the message is coming from a Buddha. It doesn't matter who it is. Be it Jesus, be it Buddha, be it Krishna. It's still a Buddha. It's still an enlightened master. And we start to feel this connection. But it becomes our experience. We understand through the expansion of our own consciousness. But before we were looking at it through the eyes of judgment, through the eyes of the head, because we could see there was a lot of incoherency. Like it wasn't tangible. We couldn't feel it. So yes, this is what happens. As you connect more internally, you feel a stronger connection to God, because God is within. And even though initially you still might perceive it externally, there's a very strong connection. And the faith and the trust starts to grow, because you start to perceive the clarity. You know, I quote the Bible a lot. And when I was a child, I was exposed to a Christian education. And I used to challenge everything. Because I had an understanding of unconditional love. I knew or felt things weren't coherent. What was said and what was being done was different. And I could see there was a lot of fear and control. And I never believed that that was a teaching of Jesus. I didn't believe that. So I took distance. But now you're choosing. And this is a nice thing. And it happens in life. We go through stages. We even go through stages that we reject a lot of what our parents tell us. And then in hindsight, when we mature, we can see the validity of what they said. But when we're at a certain age, we don't want them telling us how to live our lives. We want to live our own lives. We want to make our own mistakes. And I can see many times throughout my life, I've looked back and said, yep, my mother was right. Yep, my mother was right. But I had to come to that realization. And this is the same thing with religion. We are forced on some level to follow a tradition, but it's not what we feel. It's not what we feel. It's like we are obliged. And no one's born Catholic. No one's born Jewish. No one's born Hindu. No one's born Muslim. Our parents are. But we are not born a religion. So we need to have the openness to experience everything and then make our own choices. And you know, often when we commit to consciousness, we don't commit to a structured religion. But we can see beautiful aspects of all religions. Because all religions come from a master. The humans manipulate it. The humans become fanatical. The humans are what causes all the problems. So good. Good question.
Can you talk about the praise and the gratitude?
You know, isn't it great when you wake up in the morning and you look out the window, and every day I think I am the luckiest woman on the planet. It doesn't matter where I am in the world, I wake up and I feel so much appreciation and gratitude. I really do. And especially here or in my centers, I look out the window and I think, I am the luckiest person in the world. Not do I only live in the most wonderful places, I have an incredible family that loves me unconditionally. And I love them unconditionally. And I don't know where else in the world this exists. Like, we love each other so much. There's no judgment. We wake up and there's just love. And this is appreciation. And this is gratitude. And all of creation is singing to praise, love and gratitude. You know, birds don't wake up depressed. They don't look out the window and go, out the tree, no? Raining, bummer, going back to bed. They go, oh, it's raining. I'm going to sing from the nest. Yeah? All of creation flows in praise, love and gratitude. And as we expand our consciousness, we start to experience that. And it doesn't matter where we are. It doesn't matter where we are. We feel that. And I think with this COVID, it grew, no? You know, I remember when I first got in a plane, I was so happy. And I didn't care that they just threw some shitty sandwich at me. And it was like 6 months old. I was like, ooh, sandwich. And then we stopped in Brazil And I remember before, I'd complain if I had a stopover, like for a few hours, and this was for 3 days, that it was okay, you know? It was okay. And because everything was taken away, we were so happy with anything. And isn't that a great thing? This year, we have to appreciate what we have, but a full, and give gratitude. You know, don't just talk to God when you want something. I want this and I want that, and if you give me this, I'm going to do that, and I promise that if you give me this, I'm going to do that. Just wake up from a place of innocence and live in praise, love and gratitude. Really appreciate the abundance you have in this moment. Give gratitude to what you have in this moment. If you learned anything from last year, learn that, to really appreciate what you have. Yeah? Gracias.
Come visit our webpage for books, movies, and our wonderful retreat centers. Isha's simple yet powerful system is transforming lives around the world.